What if our entire planet was covered by a single, endless ocean? Imagine a world with no continents, no islands, just a vast, deep expanse of water stretching from pole to pole. It sounds like something from a sci-fi movie, but what would a true water world Earth actually be like? Today, our planet is already a blue marble. More than 70% of its surface is covered by oceans, seas, and lakes. We have 5 major oceans and countless smaller bodies of water that shape our climate, our weather, and our lives. But we also have 7 massive continents, vast land masses that provide a home for humanity and terrestrial life. These continents, with their mountains, plains, and deserts, are what make our world so diverse. Now, let's strip that all away. Picture our planet undergoing a radical transformation. The familiar shapes of North America, Africa, and Asia begin to blur as sea levels rise relentlessly. First, our coastlines vanish. Cities like New York, Tokyo, and London are swallowed by the encroaching tide. Then the plains and valleys disappear, becoming new seabeds. Finally, even the mightiest mountain ranges, from the Himalayas to the Andes, are submerged one by one until the last peak sinks beneath the waves. Our world is now a seamless sphere of blue. No land breaks the surface. Without continents to block their path, the weather systems would become monstrous. Imagine hurricanes or hypercanes, thousands of kilometers wide, churning across the global ocean for weeks, even months. These storms would be far more powerful than anything we experience today, fueled by the endless warm water. The waves they generate would be titanic, some reaching hundreds of meters in height, circling the globe without ever hitting a shore. The ocean itself would be a different beast. Without continents to divert them, ocean currents would flow in massive, simplified patterns, likely as powerful, planet-circling jet streams of water. The surface would be warm, perhaps even uncomfortably hot near the equator, while the depths would remain frigid and dark. The difference in temperature between the surface and the deep ocean would drive powerful vertical currents, constantly churning the water. What about life? On land, it would be a total extinction event. Every terrestrial plant and animal, from the smallest insect to the largest elephant, would be gone. The planet's biodiversity would be catastrophically reduced. In the ocean, however, it would be a different story. Marine life would be facing a new, uniform world. Initially, coastal species that rely on shallow waters and reefs would struggle to survive. But over millions of years, life would adapt. With no land runoff, the ocean might become incredibly clear, but also nutrient-poor in many areas. Life would likely concentrate in zones where deep, nutrient-rich water upwells to the surface. We might see the evolution of colossal marine creatures, much larger than anything alive today. Imagine whale-like animals the size of city blocks, or vast schools of fish that stretch for hundreds of kilometers, adapting to a world with no boundaries. Perhaps new forms of life would evolve to live permanently at the surface, forming massive floating ecosystems like continent-sized mats of seaweed. And what about us? What would happen to humanity? Without land, our civilization as we know it would cease to exist. Our cities, our farms, our entire infrastructure would be at the bottom of the ocean. Our survival would depend on our ingenuity and our ability to adapt to a fully aquatic environment. Could we build floating cities? It's a fascinating idea. We could envision massive, self-sustaining platforms, or even interconnected flotillas drifting on the global ocean currents. These arcologies would have to be engineering marvels, capable of withstanding the colossal storms and waves. They would need to generate their own power, likely from the sun, wind, and ocean currents. We would have to learn to farm the sea, cultivating algae and practicing aquaculture on an industrial scale. Fresh water would be a constant challenge, requiring massive desalination plants to support the population. Life on these floating cities would be completely different. There would be no wide open spaces, No forests to walk in, no mountains to climb. Society would be compact, enclosed, and entirely dependent on technology. Perhaps we would develop personal submarines instead of cars, navigating the depths for resources or exploration. Our connection to the natural world would be entirely marine. We would become a species of sailors, engineers, and oceanographers, but the psychological toll would be immense. Imagine never setting foot on solid ground, spending your entire life surrounded by an endless, often violent ocean. It would require a fundamental shift in the human psyche. These megastorms we mentioned would be a constant threat. A hurricane could make a whole section of the ocean uninhabitable for weeks, forcing floating cities to be mobile, constantly navigating away from the storm's path. The ocean currents, while predictable, would be like planetary conveyor belts. A city caught in a major current might be carried halfway around the world in a matter of months. The climate on a water world would also be extreme. The planet would likely be much warmer and more humid, with a thick cloud cover trapping heat. The lack of land would disrupt the carbon cycle. Without terrestrial plants to absorb CO2, the ocean would have to do all the work, which could lead to extreme ocean acidification, making it difficult for creatures with shells or skeletons to survive. Could we truly make it? The challenges would be astronomical. Building a single floating city capable of sustaining a few thousand people is a monumental task. Building enough to save a significant portion of humanity seems almost impossible. We would be a fragile species, living in manufactured bubbles on a planet that is actively hostile to our old way of life. We'd be a species in exile on our own home world. Exploring the idea of a water world Earth isn't just a sci-fi fantasy. It's a profound thought experiment that highlights the delicate and complex balance of our planet. The continents, the oceans, the atmosphere, they all work together in a system that has allowed life and us to flourish. Take one piece away, and the entire system changes in ways we can barely comprehend. It reminds us that the solid ground beneath our feet is not a given. It's a precious and vital part of what makes Earth our home. Thank you for watching. If you found this journey to a water world fascinating, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more explorations into the unknown. What if scenario should we explore next? Let us know in the comments below.